In this video, I'm going to show you how to reverse code your items. And I'm only going to make one video for Mac, PC, and Google Sheets because it's basically the same thing. It might look slightly different, but it's pretty much the same thing. So here I have the original data, and I'm going to do this for the Rosenberg Self-Esteem Scale. This data is from the National Longitudinal Youth Survey. And I think this data is from teenagers, so their self-esteem was kind of low. Just to warn you, for when we get a mean of the composite scores, it's going to be kind of low. And that's probably because they're teenagers and don't know what they want to do with their life and going through a bunch of changes. Okay, so here is the original data, and then here is the key. So self-esteem 1, that item was I am a person of worth, for example. And because it says 80 here because that's when the data was collected in 1980. And so we have all these items, and some of them need to be reverse coded. And the reason that is because in the data set, if they said one strongly disagree, if they said strongly disagree, it was given a 1. If they said disagree, it was given a 2. If they said agree, that was given a 3. And if they said strongly agree, that was given a 4. Now, these numbers work for the items that are not highlighted. So I am a person of worth. That works for the rating scale that they had. But it doesn't work for the highlighted one. So if we're trying to have high numbers mean high self-esteem, then strongly agreeing to this item would mean you got a 4 and indicate high self-esteem, and that works out. But let's say we go to this item and someone strongly agrees with this item. I am inclined to feel that I am a failure. So if someone strongly agrees to this question, and they would get a 4 as well in the original data. But that's not what we want. So we want to reverse code this item and the other highlighted items to have this rating scale. So if they strongly agree to an item, then that really means that they have low self-esteem and it needs to have a 1. So on the reverse coded items, if they strongly agree, that means they have low self-esteem, and if they strongly disagree, that means they have high self-esteem. So we want to flip the numbers. Okay? We want to do that for all the highlighted ones. And so here's our original data, and what I did is I just highlighted this and then made a new tab here by pressing the plus sign and went to the reverse coded. I made a tab that's called reverse coded. And I actually already reverse coded most of these. So I reverse coded 3, 5, 8, and 9 already, just to speed things up and you don't have to watch me do all of them, but I will show you how to do it for 10. And for your homework, you only have 5 items and only one of them needs to be reverse coded. So that's a little different than this scale. And also the response options are different. You have 5 and we only have 4 for the self-esteem data. So you're going to need to keep that in mind when you do your homework. So we have self-esteem 10 and we want to reverse code that. And I'll show you a little trick here. In 1 second. So let's go back to the key. So if it originally is a 1 and we want it to be a 4, what you can do is do 5 minus 1. That'll give you a 4. You do 5 minus 2. That'll give you a 3. You do 5 minus 3. That'll give you a 2. You do 5 minus 4. That'll give you a 1. So what you want to do is do the number of options plus 1 and then minus the original response. So in this case, we're going to do 5 because we have 4 response options. Now, if you had, for example, 5 response options, wink, wink, then you're going to use the number 6 here. But for the self-esteem data, we're going to use 5 because we have 4 response options. So we're going to type in here equals 5 minus, and then we're going to click on the original response. And you want to make sure it's in the same row so we don't mix people up. Okay? And then I'm going to press enter, and voila, it does it for me automatically. So now, instead of giving them a 3, now we have a 2, and that's what we want for the reverse coded items. Now you can go to the bottom right here and see where this cross arrow pops up, and you can click on it and drag. And well, now it's doing it for the second person as well. So if you go here, it's doing 5 minus J3, which is this. So it did 5 minus 2 for you, and you get 3, and that's what we want. Now if you want to keep doing this, you can click and drag, and maybe if you did it sooner, let me see. You should be able to just go to the bottom right and double click, but it's not working. Normally if you double click, it will just go all the way to the bottom. So you don't have to drag all the way, but you can just drag it. But you can try the double click method. So you would just go here and go to the bottom right and double click, which now I did it, but it's already done. So thanks, Excel. Anyways, after you do that, you want to highlight this. Okay, let me go back 1 second though. I just want to make sure that you understand. So we did the number of response options, which is 4, plus 1, that gives you 5, and then you subtract off where that item is. Okay, so if you had 5 response options, you do 6 minus the original. If you had 6 response options, you would have 7 minus the original response. And we're only going to do this for the items that are kind of in a negative wording. So for example, this one is, I sometimes think I am no good at all. So saying strongly agree to this item would indicate to low self-esteem. So we need to reverse code it. Now I'm going to highlight this whole column here. So I'm going to go up here, right click and copy, or you can go do Control C or whatever. And then you want to go here and you want to right click here. You don't want to do it the fast way. Okay? This is very important because you want to do paste values, right? If you just paste this, then it's going to mess up. See, things aren't exactly what they should be. So you want to just paste the values, or it's going to mess up. Sometimes it puts REF here, but we want to make sure that we paste the values. So now, oops, did we paste the values? You want to make sure, oh yes, you paste the values, and then this will change. Because now it's doing 5 minus this, which now is reverse coded already, so it's doing it like multiple times. So this is wrong now. Don't use this anymore. Delete it. Okay? Alright, so then after you do that, what you want to do is make a composite. Here. And we're going to average out all the items for one person. So a row represents a person. So we want to know the average of this person. So we're going to highlight for item 1 to all the way to item 10. And then put a parenthesis and close it. And then press enter. So this is the average for person 1. And what you can do, hopefully, is double click. Oh, it worked that time. Or you can drag. So if you double click down there at the bottom right here, then it should go all the way down to the very end. And we have 76 people. For this, I just chose some of the people from the National Longitudinal Youth Survey because there's like 12,000. And I just want to make this simple, more simple for you guys. So now we have an average for everyone. So this is the average for person 1, and this is the average for person 2. So this averaged from A3 to J3. And so it did all this. And then it kept doing that over and over again. So this is the composite score. So it's the average for each item. And we have a composite score for each person. So this is kind of a indication of their self-esteem, and you can kind of see it's usually below 3, and so generally people are saying that they disagree or strongly disagree to these positive statements and the opposite for the negative statements. So generally these teenagers have low self-esteem. Now what you might want to do is get the average for everyone. So you're going to type in equals average and then parentheses, and then I'm just going to highlight the composite and press enter. So the average of everyone, their average self-esteem is about 1.63 on the Rosenberg self-esteem scale for these teenagers, these 76 teenagers. So don't confuse this average with this average. So this average is the average of all the items per person. And so we have one for each person because we just want one value to indicate their self-esteem. You know, it would make it really hard if we have all these items for one construct. So we just want to make an average of it, or you could do a total, but I think average makes more sense because now it's kind of back on that 1 through 4 scale. And so these are for each person, and then this is the overall average of the composites. And then if you want to get the standard deviation of that, you can as well. You can put equals and start typing this out, and it should pop up for you. And you want to do the standard DV here, so STDEV, and you want to do the .s. Older versions, you might just have to do this one. So if you have an older version, or this might be what's on Google Sheets, I can't remember, then you just do it this way. You can kind of click on these. Estimate the standard deviation based on a sample, or you can use the toolpack as well. That's fine. You can use the toolpack on the composite score if you want. That's how you know how to do it. Whatever, you just get this sample standard deviation because this is a sample. And we get it there. So again, you can use the toolpack if you want, but you'll need the mean of the composite scores and the standard deviation, and you have to reverse score one of the items first on your homework before you get the composite scores. All right, and that ends this video.